In 2013, the smartphone industry had reached a quiet agreement with itself. Premium phones would cost $600, $700, sometimes $800, and consumers would accept it because they had no real alternative. Apple and Samsung dominated the high end with iron grips on distribution, marketing, and carrier partnerships, while cheaper Android brands fought desperately over the leftovers at the bottom of the market. The middle ground had been abandoned, turned into a no man's land where companies feared to tread. Inside the industry, though, two people knew something was fundamentally off about this arrangement. Pete Lau, aged 38, had just left Oppo after years of working in senior positions, where he had spent countless hours watching how phone prices were systematically inflated by retail stores demanding their cut, carrier partnerships that added layers of complexity and cost, and massive advertising budgets that poured millions into celebrity endorsements and Super Bowl commercials. Carl Pei, aged 24, came from the internet side of technology. Forums like XDA developers, tech blogs, and online communities where enthusiasts compared processors, batteries, and screen specifications instead of just accepting whatever brand names told them to buy. Together, they believed the market was lying to consumers, and more importantly, they believed there was a better way. Their idea was not to make a cheap phone or to cut corners on quality. It was to make an honest one, stripping away everything that didn't directly benefit the user experience. If a company removed physical stores entirely, eliminated sales commissions that motivated pushy retail employees, and cut TV advertising that cost millions while adding zero value to the actual product, a phone with true flagship hardware could be sold for far less than what Samsung and Apple were charging. So in April 2014, they launched the OnePlus One with a slogan that would become legendary: "Never settle." On paper, it looked completely impossible, almost like a scam. It used a Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor, the same chip powering that year's flagships, paired with 3 GB of RAM when most phones had 2 GB, a 5.5-inch 1080p display with excellent color accuracy, and a 13-megapixel camera with Sony sensors. Samsung's Galaxy S5, released that same year with similar specifications, cost $649 at launch. The OnePlus One cost $299 for the 16GB model and $349 for 64 GB. Instead of flooding the market with inventory and hoping for sales, OnePlus used an invite system that seemed bizarre at the time. You could not simply visit a website and buy the phone like a normal product. You had to be invited by someone who already owned one, or win an invite through contests and community challenges. This created artificial scarcity and turned every single customer into a promoter who could share invites with friends and family. On forums like Reddit and YouTube channels dedicated to Android, people obsessively compared specs, shared invite codes, and hunted for ways to get their hands on this mysterious phone that shouldn't exist at that price point. By the end of 2014, OnePlus had sold nearly 1 million units globally, even though its original internal target had been just 50,000 phones. OnePlus was not yet a giant company with massive resources or global reach, but it had achieved something far more valuable and difficult to replicate. It had convinced people that buying a phone could be an act of rebellion against the industry itself, a statement that you were smarter than the average consumer who paid twice as much for the same technology. Between 2015 and 2019, OnePlus grew rapidly. The OnePlus 2 launched in 2015 at $329. The OnePlus 3 arrived in 2016 at $399 with 6 GB of RAM. By 2017, the OnePlus 5 cost $479, still half the price of the iPhone X at $999. Sales climbed from 1 million units in 2014 to approximately 3 million in 2017, then 5 million in 2018. By 2019, OnePlus reached nearly 8 million units sold globally. India became the backbone. In 2017, OnePlus held 23% of India's premium smartphone market. By 2018, that grew to 30%. By 2019, it peaked at 33%, outselling Samsung in phones priced above $400. The community felt unbreakable. Oxygen OS was fast, clean, and built on user feedback. Carl Pei spent hours on Reddit talking directly to customers. Every update felt like collaboration. Then 2020 changed everything. The OnePlus 8 Pro launched at $899 in the US and £799 in the UK, the same price as Samsung flagships. For the first time, OnePlus wasn't undercutting anyone. That same year, Carl Pei left. He was 31 years old and had been the face of the brand for 6 years. Without him, the identity began to blur. In 2021, OnePlus merged its software and hardware teams with Oppo. Oxygen OS started sharing code with ColorOS. Updates became buggy. Menus felt cluttered. The software that users loved was disappearing. By 2022, OnePlus global shipments dropped to 6.5 million units, down 19% from 2019. The brand was losing its meaning. Then came the green line defect in 2023. A permanent green line appeared on thousands of displays. OnePlus 8, 9, 10 series, often after software updates. OnePlus offered lifetime screen replacements, but retailers had to handle the chaos. In May 2024, South India's major retail associations stopped recommending OnePlus entirely. The numbers collapsed. India premium market share fell from 21% in 2023 to just 6% in 2024. Overall market share dropped below 4%. Global shipments in 2024 were estimated at 4.8 million units, a 40% decline in just 2 years, and barely half of what OnePlus sold in 2019.